My wife and I were in a car, and there was an accident in front of us. Traffic stopped, and of course, you hear that behind you. I looked in my mirror, car whacked into me, and I got knocked out. Within weeks of that accident, I realized the pain in my back was outrageous. Over some period of time, I started going to the doctor, and they said, look, take these epidurals, let's see if these work. And they did, for a while. Subsequently, they started to wear off quicker and quicker. And then I did go have my first back surgery. It gave me about a year or two where I was in pain, but I was mobile. And then after that, it just continuously got worse. I can't bend over. Getting in and out of the car, very, very painful. Just walking, parking your car. You don't want to walk far. You bend over to shave. Oh, that became an event. I found myself skipping shaving for 2 or 3 days just to avoid the challenge of putting shaving cream on and bending over to shave. One moment that was just absolutely devastating for me, I was in a hotel with a friend of mine. We were going to go walk across the parking lot to grab a bite to eat, and it was probably 50 yards. There was a step from the sidewalk to the parking lot, and I walked up to the step, and I told my buddy John, I said, hey, John, I know this may sound ridiculous, but I can't do that. And he was like, what? I said, I'm telling you, I can't do it. It was at that moment, really, that shook me. Even the most fundamental things for enjoyment of life or anything close to it, that was going to prevent me from doing anything. That led my journey to Dr. Haddad. I called her and I said, Doc, I can't deal with this. She said, you're a great candidate for what I'm about to tell you.
Michael was a patient of mine for about a year. At that time, he was suffering from just low back pain that is worse with sitting down, worse with bending forward. He came back after the MRI, we reviewed it together. He had a lot of degeneration in the discs, and then he also had inflammation in the vertebral bodies related to the disc degeneration. Based on his symptoms and based on his MRI findings, I did think he would be a candidate for the Intracept procedure.
She came back and she said, look, there's a new procedure and you are a great candidate for it. She told me about Intracept. I said, look, I'm a software guy. I don't know bone structure. What are you doing? What does this do?
So the Intracept procedure specifically targets the vertebral body. Under live x-ray, we go into the vertebral body. This is done usually on an outpatient basis. The procedure, depending on how many levels can be treated, can take somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour. It's done with anesthesia. Patients are usually discharged home the same day, and I personally allow my patients to go back to their regular activity the next day if they can tolerate it.
I was thinking to myself, man, I hope this works. After the procedure, when I rolled off that table, it was different. I was hoping it wasn't just the drugs. But then the drugs wore off and, I'm drinking apple juice and starting to really get to be my knucklehead self. And the only thing I could feel was where she had done the work. I go home. The next morning I got up. I didn't feel anything. Anything. Except where the procedure was. Within 3, 4, 5 days, the procedure discomfort was gone, and there was nothing left. This is really, really, really unbelievable. This actually worked.
I remember him coming to the follow-up appointment after he forgot his initial follow-up appointment because he wasn't thinking about his back pain. But I walked in, and the first thing he said to me, I love you, you have changed my life. This is why Intracept is really different than everything else I have offered in the past.
It stunned me, literally stunned me, and I refused to actually allow myself to believe that it was going to last. And now, here we are. I'm dancing, I'm cleaning pools. I can pretty much do anything that I want to do. My buddies and I, we raise money for our veterans, we raise money for kids with cancer, and it really over the last 15 or so years, that's been my passion. And we would ride from here to Washington, D.C. We'd visit Rolling Thunder, which is a huge motorcycle thing. That was being taken away from me. With a bad back, you're thinking to yourself, hey, can I make it another 300 miles? After this, it's like, you're happy to do another 100 miles if it'll raise another $1,000 to help kids. You're happy to run, 10 days instead of 5. We're gonna do it again in August. I'm thrilled about it. I even got a new bike. I wasn't even gonna get a new bike, because I thought my riding days were pretty much over. It's a different life. I am a huge advocate for this procedure. For anybody who's considering this, it's not worth the pain. Do it.
The Intracept procedure is something that I'm very passionate about and is close to my heart because I've seen dramatic improvement in patients and improvement that I have not been able to offer them with other procedures. It's been a game changer, and I'm getting my own husband to get Intracept hopefully soon. So
if you have back pain, get your life back. That procedure worked. It's incredible.